Yes, it's time for another album ranking. Today we are doing the legendary rock band Led Zeppelin. Led Zeppelin is one of the most influential rock bands of all fucking time, and it's my pleasure to give you an album ranking for Led Zeppelin. Although I've been holding off my opinion for a very long time now, especially in my album rankings, because a lot of people have particular albums that are quite high where I would actually rank them low. And I've been holding off with my opinion for a while, but you know what, I don't give a fuck anymore. I learned that a lot of people won't be happy with this ranking, but that's alright, this is just my opinion. Although you'll probably be pissed off if I put your favorite album last, but you know what, anything can happen with this ranking. Anything can happen with Jimmy Page is on guitar, an absolutely fantastic guitarist. Robert Plant on vocals, amazing vocalist as well, really love his style. We had none other than John Paul Jones, who was on bass. Got none other than John Bonham on drums, a fantastic drummer, but unfortunately Led Zeppelin departed after he died. But honorable mentions is Coda. I'm not going to add Coda on this ranking just because it's not classified as studio album. It's more of a compilation album. Now, this album is a good album in my opinion. If I had to rank it, it would probably be second last. Some really good songs. Now, this is all just bits left off from Led Zeppelin's discography, and it's actually a pretty good album. And I just love how energetic at times these songs are, but overall it's a pretty solid album. We're gonna groove Walter's Walk, some really nice bluesy vibes going on throughout that album. So now let's get on with the album ranking from the weakest album to the best album. And now the weakest album is a lot of people's favorites, but honestly I have tried so hard to get into this album, but I just can't. I honestly just can't, and it's taken me years to try and finally click with this album. I think it finally did click with me last year or something, and I'm actually starting to enjoy it now, but fuck, it took so fucking long. But yeah, it's Houses of the Holy. Yeah, House of the Holy is sitting at last. I just don't enjoy this album at times. Album cover's fucking horrible as well. I just don't like this album. I can respect their experimental side. You got reggae songs as well on this album. I think No Quarter's worse. The worst fucking song that Led Zeppelin have done. No Quarter, with Rob Plant's screechy vocals throughout that song, and it's such a weird album. This is the best song off the album is The Ocean, hands down. Finally get a little bit of Led Zeppelin, that Led Zeppelin you want. Not this shit. Production is good on the other hand, and it's finally slowly clicking with me. Like, I do love some of these songs, like Over the Hills and Far Away, which is a nice ballad. Dire Maker as well, which is a song that I'm slowly liking. That reggae influence, but if you laid all these albums on the table, there's no fucking way I would pick Houses of the Holy as my number one. I'm moving away from this album because I don't really like it. It favors me how a lot of people absolutely love this album. I don't understand why a lot of people like this album. This is such a overrated album by this band, and it's the worst album by Led Zeppelin. So next up is oh god, this is gonna piss a lot of people off as well. It's Led Zeppelin III. It's a good album. This is the albums that I really am starting to enjoy. Like, I really love it. Now, there are some bluesy, folky elements on this album, and it's very different to Led Zeppelin II and Led Zeppelin, the debut album, the thunderous, mouth-watering debut album, which you will see later on. But I absolutely really enjoy some of these songs, like Immigration Song is a pretty good song. I love Rob Plant's vocals on this album, and the guitar solos by Jimmy Page are absolutely fantastic. Tangerine is such a really fun song as well, but of course they incorporate more bluesy and folky elements, and yeah, Led Zeppelin III is a hit or miss album for me. It really is. It's just because of the flow of this album as well. I feel that this album doesn't flow as well as the other Led Zeppelin albums, but overall it's a good album. It's way better than Houses for the Holy, that's for sure. Holy shit, this blows Houses for the Holy out of the water. But overall, Led Zeppelin III is a good album. If I had a shotgun to my head and I had to choose Led Zeppelin III, I would choose it and listen to it without any hesitation. Next up is Presence, a fantastic album by Led Zeppelin. These are the albums that I fucking love now, and I just adore this album. How can you not like Achilles' Last Stand? So damn good. For Your Life, Royal Orleans. Then you got Nobody's Fault But Mine. Rob Plan's vocals are again absolutely fantastic. Really love the Southern vibes that are creeping in for this band as well. Candy Store Rock is such a fun song. This album is a good old rock and roll time, and T for One is a great epic to close off the album. Yeah, Presence is a pretty underrated album by Led Zeppelin. I don't know why a lot of people shit on this album, because there's just so much coherent flow for this album as well, and it's just a fun old fucking time. You got Jimmy Page and his amazing solos throughout this album. Love John Bonham's drumming on this album. Really good album, at times to bang your head along. It's fantastic, it really is, and I just love the overall guitar tone. Production's fantastic. I really like this album. So next up is a lot of people's worst album by Led Zeppelin, but I disagree. I think this is a fantastic fucking album. It's In Through the Outdoor. Yeah, this is Led Zeppelin's last album before, unfortunately, the death of John Bonham. It's a very melodic album. I just love it. Like, Hot Dog. Hot Dog is such a fun fucking song. This reminds me, I love Elvis, I really do, and this song just reminds me of Elvis. And even Rob Plant's vocals on that song just sound like Elvis. I absolutely love Hot Dog. Carousel Alhambra is really interesting, very interesting sort of synthy vibes. Now the synths are really heavily in the mix, and that's alright, it's a fun song. All My Love, I'm Gonna Crawl is a great way to close off the Led Zeppelin discography, and In the Evening is a great opener to kick off the album. This is fun. This is more of a southern vibe album, you could say. To describe, it's like hillbilly rock. It's absolutely fucking fantastic, this album. Metallica wishes they could do an album like this. This is fantastic. I really enjoy In Through the Outdoor. I just love the overall mix of this album. The guitar's absolutely fantastic. Rob Plan's vocals are so damn good as well. He really surprised me with his vocals, how his vocals do change throughout the albums. And yeah, this is a really fun album. There's a lot of piano-based moments on this album as well. A lot of keyboards, a lot of synths. I'd say it's probably radio rock friendly, but damn, sometimes radio rock friendly, it can be fantastic. And this album is fantastic by this band. Next up is Led Zeppelin II, the sophomore album. And this album is absolutely fantastic. Absolutely adore this album. But this album could change any day, but at the moment Led Zeppelin II sits here, so damn good. You got Whole Lot of Love, Whole Lot of Fucking Love. Everyone knows Whole Lot of Love. What Is and What Should Never Be is an amazing song. Love the instrumental Moby Dick, and just the drum solo on that song is fantastic. And Bring It On Home. You got the Lemon song as well, Heartbreaker, Ramble On, so many classic songs by Led Zeppelin, and I just love how guitar driven this album is. It's just so fun. I love the drumming. I just love Rob Plant's vocals. Really love his high shrieks at times. But of course there are a few other albums that are better than Led Zeppelin II in my opinion. But holy shit, this is a great album for a beginner, a good introductory album for Led Zeppelin. It seems like that I feel that the debut album was slightly better than Led Zeppelin II in my opinion, just because it's one of the greatest debut albums of all fucking time. But yeah, I'll mention that later on. Next up is Physical Graffiti. A lot of people have this as number one. I can understand why. This album is absolutely fantastic. The Rover is an amazing song. You got In My Time of Dying, a beautiful long epic song as well. The Houses of the Holy is fucking 100 times better than the actual album itself, that song. You got Trampled Underfoot, Kashmir. Oh, Kashmir. Yeah, so damn good. Everyone knows Kashmir. Into the Light is another epic song. This album sort of dies off in my opinion. It really does, with some filler songs like Black Country Woman. Yeah, it's a good album. It really is. It's good to close to great. It's one of the classics. It's a masterpiece. If I had to give it a rating, I'd probably give it a 9.5 out of 10. That's how fucking good Physical Graffiti is, and this is the longest Led Zeppelin album, and you can understand they really wanted to treat their fans, that's for sure. An abysmal album Houses of the Holy was to Physical Graffiti, absolutely magnificent, a huge turnaround. This album really took me by surprise when I heard it for the first time, absolutely fucking loved it. And I always thought Physical Graffiti was before Houses of the Holy, but you know what, I was completely wrong. This was after that album, and just so many good songs. Like In the Light is one of my favorite Led Zeppelin songs. Just so many bangers, and Sick Again's a great song as well. But yeah, I just love the instrumentals It's more proggy, you could say. There's a lot of progressive elements on this album, especially got In My Time I'm Dying, which is just an absolutely amazing song. Just love Rob Plant's vocals on this album, and Custard Pie is a great way to kick off Physical Graffiti. But overall, Physical Graffiti sits here. I'm really tossing between these two albums, to be honest, whether it's Led Zeppelin or Led Zeppelin IV, but let's put these two together. Led Zeppelin IV and Led Zeppelin, yeah, those are tied. These albums are tied. Yeah, first ever ranking, these albums are tied. Alright, no, we can't do that, can we? We can't do that. Alright, take Led Zeppelin out and put Led Zeppelin in. Led Zeppelin IV goes second. Holy shit, this album is absolutely fantastic. It really is. Now, this is the album that features Stairway to Heaven, the classic fucking ballad. And Jimmy Page's guitar solo on Stairway to Heaven is absolutely fantastic. Although I feel like I've overplayed that song, going back to it this week, holy shit, it was absolutely amazing. It really was. To just listen to Stairway to Heaven again. You got songs like When the Levee Breaks, When the fucking Levee Breaks. Holy shit, what an amazing song as well. You got Black Dog, the start off the album. The Battle of Evermore, I feel, is probably the weakest song off the album, in my opinion. This is why the debut album slightly edges Led Zeppelin IV, is because of the song The Battle of Evermore. Going to California is an amazing song as well. So overall, this album is a 10 out of 10 if I had to actually give it a score. It's a fucking 10 out of 10, this album. But I just feel there's one album that is better than all of them. That is the superior album, Led Zeppelin. It's none other than their debut album, Led Zeppelin. Yeah, so this might be biased, but this was my first Led Zeppelin album, and I'm sure a lot of people, this was their first Led Zeppelin album. I see a lot of people put this in the middle. I don't understand why. I don't understand why people put this in the middle, because this is a groundbreaker album. In my opinion, this is one of the best debut albums of all fucking time. It's got Good Times, Bad Times, Baby I'm Gonna Leave You, along with You Shook Me all night long. You Shook Me, Dazed and Confused. Dazed and fucking Confused, that little bit in the middle where the instrumentals go all crazy, along with Communication Breakdown. And you go, How Many More Times? Holy shit, this album's fantastic. Rob Plant's vocals sound so damn visceral at times. I love Jimmy Page's guitar solos. I just love how gritty and heavy this album is as well. This is quite a heavy album by Led Zeppelin. I really love the drumming, and overall, this is the best album by Led Zeppelin, in my opinion. This album's absolutely fantastic. It really is. Absolutely adore it. A lot of people are going to disagree with my ranking, and that's alright. What I want you guys to do is comment below your ranking below. Do you agree or disagree with my opinion? I encourage interaction, because really nothing can beat that AC/DC comment section. Oh, no way. No way when I reviewed AC/DC. Holy shit. So yeah, what can I say? Led Zeppelin is an absolutely amazing band. I really fucking adore them. This is the band that I take a break from for about a year, because I don't want to overplay them. And unfortunately with some bands you do overplay them, like I did with Pantera. This is the band that when I go back to, I just binge their albums and I fucking love them. And How's It the Holy, like I said, is an album that is growing on me. I just had to be critical because of this album ranking. I'm not gonna lie to you, tell you that How's It the Holy is like in the middle to please the masses. Fuck off. This is my channel, and I will tell you whether I like this album or not. So yeah, so comment below what you thought about this album ranking. Keep discussion going in the comment section below, and I will see you in the next one.